Here we go. Right, so Ian was the animator, but this was actually a concept by Sue Crockford, who was, if you remember, Channel 4 in the early years, when it was this sort of niche party for the minorities. So she was sort of the embodiment of the arts and activism combo. And it was also budgetary constraints that led to this series, because Ceefax, they did the subtitles and the Teletext service for Channel 4 before Teletext Limited. So that's how Sue got to know that Ian was a bit of a wizard, to put it mildly, with the Teletext graphics. And there was a series for the deaf called Hand in Hand, and she asked Ian if he could do some of the finger spelling sort of backup animations. And she liked it so much, and he was so affordable compared to most animators, she decided to commission this series, which she did write herself, so hence a female protagonist. So yes, quite a force to be reckoned with soon, but I'm sure Ian will tell you more about that. And Sue Harris, the advisor coordinator, she was a teacher of the deaf, experts in all forms of visual communication, so there was no cheaping out on getting the hand signs wrong. They had to be perfectly clear, so 2 people on this case. Any questions? Oh, hello. Are you his former boss by any chance?
I know the answer to this question, but I think other people might be interested in it, Ian. How long did it take to put that together?
As far as I can remember, it was the best part of a year. I mean, there were 10 episodes, and I think it took me roughly a month per episode. And then it was, there was question of putting it together in the studio, because the equipment we had wasn't quite, didn't animate quite fast enough, so we took it to a video facility studio to speed up some of the animations and add the soundtrack. I'd like to add that I had nothing to do with the soundtrack. And I had nothing to do with the story, which was purely to, well, not purely, but not just to entertain, but to illustrate certain hand signs. So I think that resulted in certain oddities in the storyline, but I'll leave that to you to judge.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ian. Does anyone else have any questions? I've got a few of my own, but we'll be here all day, so hello.
What kind of computer did you use to do the graphics?
Nearly all on a BBC B micro or a BBC Master 128 micro. Mostly the latter, I think. There may have been a bit on a PC, which we had a PC editor at Ceefax, but I think I did it mostly on the BBC.
I think everyone would agree that that animation will go down in history like a Disney animation. It's so amazingly well drawn. I'm interested in how you did the 3D on it. I'm interested in how you did the 3D on it and all the perspective and the animations. It's quite incredible how you worked it all out. Is it just intuition, or?
Yes, mostly intuition, but also, I had sort of background in amateur art, so there are a few very basic principles involved in drawing perspective and that sort of thing, which I think came into play to give you a sensation of depth on a simple plain screen. So I think that was one factor. Otherwise, I think it was just finding ways of conveying what was meant to be conveyed, which was always quite a challenge, especially because something as complex as a hand is not easily described in little square pixels. So a lot of it was trial and error. And I think that, as David said, it had to be right. So the creator of the storyline was Sue Harris, who was a sign language teacher for deaf children, and the producer, Sue Crockford. They concocted the story between them and decided what hand signs needed to be illustrated. And Sue Harris would come into the office regularly to see what I'd done, and if it wasn't right, she wouldn't hesitate to tell me. Being Australian, it was, no, that's no bloody good. So I'd need to do it all again. We got on pretty well, actually. I should add, the graphics weren't entirely my work. I had an assistant, a lovely girl called Carol Childs, who designed some of the characters, namely the little girl Jo. That was her creation, and the charwoman, and the gangsters, the trio of clumsy idiots. So yes, it wasn't all my own work.
Thank you. Yes, we can do clumsy idiots act, can't we, Carl? So, in the excitement, I forgot to say that there was actually a booklet to accompany the series. And I'm afraid we don't have any originals, but we do have some reproductions, so don't give you much more background on the story, but Ian would probably like to point out he's not responsible for the artwork here, which is why it's not quite right, so confusing. Well, I think we'll hand them out to anyone who asks a question, so there's an incentive. Thank you. Carl, you said you found... Oh, hello.
Hello, I just wondered what your opinion of Minecraft graphics was.
I'm sorry.
What is your view about Minecraft graphics or animation? I mean, too easy today with all the technology, I'm sure.
Did you say Minecraft?
Minecraft, yes.
Sorry, I know nothing about it.
Okay. Yes, sorry we are running a little late. We'll go more or less straight into the art panel when we've taken a few more questions. Perhaps with a toilet break, mostly from myself. So. But gentleman over here.
Ian, I'm interested in, thank you. What, were you using custom software to do your art design there? And did you have a hand in that? Or who created the software you were using? Do you know?
Yes, I had an editing program which, when the BBC Micro first came out, and I realised it had the Teletext chip. That was great for me because I could work on it at home as well as in the office to do other things, Ceefax. But I'd written a fairly basic program in BASIC to edit teletext pages. When it came to doing this, I was able to write further bits into the program to do things I wanted to do.
So it's your software as well then you were using?
Yeah, basically.
Impressive.
So to do things like panning and fading and some of the more complicated things. I think I got as much pleasure out of actually being able to program something that I needed to do as actually doing it. And
did you have a library of assets that you were then using? I mean, like a graphics library of assets, so the character models and hands and so forth that were repeated.
sorry,
The graphic, the characters, the hands that were repeated on many things. Did you have an asset library you were referring to?
yeah, I'd written a kind of cut and paste routine, so I could cut a character or a section or a hand shape and store that, so I could build up a library of characters or positions.
And you did that in basic?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, my program knowledge is very slight, but I managed to pick up a bit of basic and a bit of assembly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any more questions that anybody would like to ask at all? Oh, I've got a question here. This gentleman, right, hold the microphone properly, no feedback.
Okay, sorry. Does anyone have any questions? Just checking. No. Okay. Does anyone remember Vision On with Tony Hart? So that was another series, well, designed for deaf children, but everyone could enjoy it. Now, that was where Aardman Animation got their start, doing some shorts. And likewise, Channel 4, I mean, by the time Hands Up was broadcast, Wallace and Gromit hadn't had its premiere yet. So, but you still saw some Aardman shorts on Channel 4. So, did Channel 4 see the potential? Hang on, we've got someone here with a bit of an individual animation style. They're quite affordable. Did they think we could do more of this, or did you think you kind of exhausted the limits of the medium first time round? Just be interested to know what happened next or didn't.
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear quite the question.
Okay.
Yeah, he was asking, were there any more plans for Channel 4 to do any more animations?
I never heard of any further ideas for doing animated programs. I rather think that the Channel 4 disabilities producer, Sue Cochran, went on to other things. Further animations never got to it.
Their loss, definitely their loss. So. Well, thank you very much. I think you've beat Nathan Dane for travelling the furthest to be here. So please make the most of today afterwards if you have any questions for Ian. And thanks very much, Ian.